the haunted backroads of America, and live from the G&D Show studios, this is your GhostMan and Demon Hunter show.
Doesn't that sound exciting to you?
Falling leaves and cemetery trees. Welcome to the Halloween Spooktacular, guys. From your mystifying Oracle Radio, your GhostMan and Demon Hunter radio show. Hello, everybody.
I was afraid you were about to say falling trees and blah, blah leaves, and I really was afraid there was going to be a falling on your knees line there somewhere.
I was going to add that in. I was going to write it. Actually, I wrote this whole cool Halloween Spooktacular opening, and I botched it from the beginning. So there you go, guys. You're welcome. It's the thought that counts. Good intentions, as always.
Yeah, everybody says that, but at Christmas, they're looking for the wrapping.
Yeah, I know. That's how we always do it, though, here at the G&D Show. And this is your Mystifying Oracle Radio, guys, if we didn't mention it before, which we just did, in case you didn't hear it, the GhostMan and Demon Hunter Radio Show. Been away for a minute, Demon Hunter. A lot of big things happening.
Just a bit. The last time we were on the air, we were talking about haunted houses, the kind you pay to go into. Not ghost hunters, but anybody. And now here we are in haunted house season.
We were talking about other types of houses after the show and private talk. See, me and Nathan, the Demon Hunter, and I have long, deep discussions into the night after the show. Usually lasts about 5 minutes nowadays, doesn't it?
Yeah, because we're both running off to watch Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead. Hey, I gotta go. Great show. Yeah, guys. But hey, welcome back. We missed you, America. We couldn't stay away from you, G&D Nation. You are bad boys of shadow. We got a good show tonight.
We got a good show tonight.
We got a Halloween spooktacular. Spooktastic.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time of the year. Yeah. The leaves start to fall. Mm-hmm. The wind blows. Yes. Pumpkins sit on the front porch just waiting to be carved. Yeah. Eggs sit in young boys' backpacks just waiting to be thrown.
Toilet paper.
Trees are filled with toilet paper. Oh, wait, that's just what I do.
It's that time. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Oh, there's a reason we don't have a music contract.
It is. It's a wonderful time of year. Thank you, by the way. Thank you, America. That was for us. That was our big return show.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
So, and Sean, why have we been gone?
We have been gone because the Ghost Man, and for the followers to the show, would know, it's been a rough patch for the Ghost Man on the G&D.
For the follower of the show.
Yeah, to the followers of the show. I've made it back to the starting line, guys. Got hitched 2 weeks ago today. Been happily married for 2 weeks now, Demon Hunter. So we are both now married men, no longer bachelors. Even though Stacy and I was together 6 years prior to this show. So
I had you beat, though. Chrissy P and I were together 8 before we got married.
Yeah, you almost dodged it. You almost dodged it. I thought you were going to pull it out, little brother. I thought you were going
to. Pulling it out's what got me into the... Oh, sorry.
Hold on a second.
Got you while you had a drink in your mouth, huh?
Oh, you did. I was drinking some coffee. Yeah. Everybody's happy about it, though. We're so proud of you. That's from the G&D Nation. Everybody's so proud of you.
But you got married.
You're growing up so fast. Yeah, I did. We had a beautiful wedding outside. Full moon. October. Leaves flying around, man. And we did it, man. We walked down that aisle. That's why we've been off, guys, for 2 or 3 weeks. And we're back now. We're back on track. It's the like I said, the falling leaves, cemetery trees. The smell is in the air. You can't. But, every year at Halloween time, Demon Hunter, there's never enough time between work and life and the show.
And now you've added an anniversary in there. You were real smart, man.
Well, every year we do the big Ghost Man spectacular Halloween bash that you haven't been able to make out to yet. We started that 2 years ago. Now, I'm going to say it's our anniversary weekend, hon. Let's do that.
Yeah, of course, folks. I'm sitting there. Sean sends me the save the date letter. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at it going, oh, that's cool. Wait a minute.
Yes.
He's going to have his wedding the same weekend as Comic-Con. First off,
yes.
It's the same weekend as Comic-Con in New York. Secondly, it's only our busiest time of the year, the time of the year where Sean and I get the most calls asking us to go someplace or do something.
That's our excuse not to go now. We can stay home. We can stay home.
Yeah, but what happens when we start making money doing this?
Well, then we have to go. I'm pretty sure she'd understand that, man.
Sorry, honey, I'm going to pay for that ring.
Going to pay for the ring. No, it was good. That ring's paid in full, baby. So I'm done. It's over. That's it. Back to square. Back to the starting line and feeling good about it, man. So, hey, I found a book. Speaking of Halloween, Demon Hunter, I found a book, and I bought it this week. It was called Spells for Halloween. Spells. Like witch spells.
Well, okay.
Customs, recipes by Silver Ravenwolf. Huh?
Oh, sure. Silver Ravenwolf. She writes a lot of those witch books.
She does?
Wiccan books, yep.
So I take it she's a Wiccan, a witch?
You would think so.
Well, it's just, I haven't had time to go over it, but it had a lot of things in here, like Halloween magic, love apple lights, stuff like that, the love apple potion. Huh? We're going to go, guys, can you see the chat room, Demon Hunter? Are you in there?
I can see the chat room. I can see the chat room up until our guest comes in, because unfortunately our guest calls in on the same computer phone that I watch the chat room on, and then I got to blank the chat room out.
All right, well, I'm going to go over some of the things here and see what they want me to talk about, if anything. Talking to the dead. Halloween, a time to honor the dead. 163 is the page. I don't know why I just read that, but if you guys get the book, 163 is the page. Talking to the dead, Demon Hunter. I'm going to go with that. What do you think?
Sure. Go start with talking with the dead.
You want to know how to talk to the dead?
Well, I do it all the time anyway, but go ahead.
Yeah, we make an attempt to when we're doing EVP, but they don't always answer. I think they're kind of.
I didn't say they talk back.
Right. I think they're kind of sick of listening to us. I don't know what this is going to say, guys, so go easy on me. Halloween, a time to honor the dead. Let's just say here. Miss you most upon each Samhain when the boundary turns to sheer. I wait until the veil is parted, huh?
First of all, let's not get hate mail from the witches, Sean. It's Samhain.
Yeah, Samhain. I say Samhain.
Samhain, when I was growing up on the farm, Samhain was the guy you were afraid was going to come and cut your head off if you went out on Halloween night. So it's
well, okay. Okay. You made me. You know this happens to me. ADD. At the ending of I wait until the veil is parted at the ending of the year. Sweet spirit, as you walk among us, as the toiling of this eve, I see your face beyond the sunset and hear your voice upon the breeze. Let's see here. In the glow. Are you guys writing this down? I think it's a spell. It says.
Let's just play it back later, Sean, so that they can just use the recording of you reading it to talk to the dead.
Millions of people will be doing this on their next day. It says in the glowing of a candle from the shadow on the wall, I watch for you in every movement and hear your footsteps in the hall. Can you sit and spend the evening as the portal opens wide? Ancestral dead, I bid you welcome. Most recent dead, I pray abide. When you come, I sense your presence. I put my hand out in the air. A moment then, we stand united, palm to palm while waiting there. I miss you the most upon Samhain when the boundary turns to sheer. We share these hours until the dawning, then bid farewell until next year. Huh?
Sounds poetic, Sean.
See? It does sound. But apparently, Talking to the Dead says there's nothing wrong with it. Going into a room by yourself or walk in the cemetery. Or sitting in your favorite nature spot, Demon Hunter. You like to do that a lot. I
do. I spend time doing that all the time.
And it says to make sure you speak out loud a lot, especially this time of year to your dead loved ones. It says you're not crazy. You're not stupid. You're not weak. You are human. See? Did you know over 60% of widows and widowers over the age of 65 in the United States today believe that their deceased husband or wife spends time with them and actually talks to them? I wonder if that goes up this time of year. I wonder if they get that,
I'm sure it does. It's like Christmas time, the way people's minds turn to Christmassy things. Mm-hmm. This time of year, people start thinking of the dead. It's
It goes on, though. It goes on. It talks about they can hear you, and we know they can hear us. Me and you, out of most people, know that they can hear us with all the.
They tell you to rot in hell all the time.
Yeah, I got that good EVP, rot in hell. Yeah, so they could. But that's it, guys. Run out and get this book. It's really cool. A simple ritual to receive answers from the dead here, Demon Hunter. It's pretty cool. our show, guys, will do anything. We're actually doing witchcraft spells on it, but it's good stuff. It's not, don't do
Well,
bad
you remember when we did Extreme Paranormal, they wanted me to do that one ritual, and the person who had taught me the ritual made me promise not to do it, like, in front of anybody. So I had to do it first, and then they filmed me doing another ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, we need the real ritual. I'm like, no, I'm not doing the real ritual on television.
Well, see, this one says a simple ritual to receive answers from the dead. And it says that in this section, this ritual she got was from an actual professional psychic lady that finds missing persons for the police department.
So are you going to go out, Sean, and on Halloween night to a haunted location and do this spell?
No way, man. No, I can't do that. I just observe. I observe. I would do it if I thought something was going to happen. I would do. It says something about salt, 1 purple candle, incense, your choice, or use Morgana's blend, a bell, an object that belonged to the deceased or their picture, their favorite flower as a gift of honor is optional.
Morgana's blend, isn't that what we mix with our bourbon?
I think so. No, that's Irish. That's Irish cream in there.
Bloody Mary mix.
Yeah, there you go. Ooh, that sounds good. But that's it, guys. So go out there and light the purple candle, and you put the salt in a circle and say your dead person's name, and voila! See what happens. What are you gonna lose?
Your arm.
That's true.
I told you about the time I accidentally reached over somebody's altar and set myself on fire, right?
No, you didn't tell me that. Good Halloween story.
Yeah. I reached over somebody's altar, and they told me not to do that, and I was thinking it was, because I disturbed something. I didn't think it was because my arm would get lit on fire by the candle.
What is your favorite, and people in the chat room, go ahead and talk about this. I want to see your answers in there. What is your favorite Halloween memory? It could be from, this month. It could be from the month of October. Your favorite, no, let's stick with the day, Halloween. The month is too long. Your favorite Halloween night memory. What happened? Not just, hey, getting candy. Like your favorite costume you wore. Or did something special happen to you? I want to hear you, G&D Nation, in the chat room. Demon Hunter, I would say my favorite Halloween night was going trick-or-treating with my cousins, dressed as
I don't want to know what you do on Halloween now, dude. Hunting.
Yeah. I'm the kid waiting in the bushes for the guys trick-or-treating. No, but we went out, we would get all dressed up in the werewolf costumes. And I remember going down the street, and I remember coming to this dude's house that would always decorate up his house every year. And this year, all the lights was off at his house. So we went to the house right behind it, which was known to be one of the type spook houses. And you could actually, when we used to run by there to get to the village pantry, and inside was tables with like green moths on them, and the table there was plates on it and forks and knives and spoon, just like they had left in the middle of something, ran out real quick. And there was even food, like bones of food left on the plates, and the windows were yellow and stuff. It was rotten. We always used to look in the house. I'm like, huh?
What Sean's not telling you folks is that he was breaking into the house of Miss Haversham.
Well, she didn't know how to eat, so I was going to go in there and raid her fridge. No, but the rumor was that the man that lived there, okay, you got a lot of these rumors when you're a kid, he chopped up his family and buried them out there in the yard, and then he took off. They were eating dinner one night, and after dinner, he had chopped them up and ran off. So, when you're that age, you don't answer questions or ask questions. But I remember when we were running through the field, all dressed up, we seen this dude in because there was like a patch of woods in between the sub-edition, or whatever you call it, the cul-de-sac or whatever he was on. And then there was a huge stretch of woods, probably about a quarter mile, that you had to walk through to get to the VP, where the house was on the corner right by the VP. And we got up there and we went through the backyard, and I swear to you, we seen a spectral light in the kitchen. We didn't even make it to the VP. We turned around and ran back. And then we seen a dude in the coming back that was out in the woods, and he had a huge garbage bag and he was dumping it in a ditch. Huh? And that's true story.
Tavern wants to tell you that favorite memory, sitting on the porch at the parents' house as a scarecrow and scaring all the gatherers as in costume when they come up to the door,
Oh, that's a good one.
I think my favorite one, Sean, is I've told you about my foster brother Eddie. I call him Maverick.
Maverick.
And he and I were dating these girls, and both the girls had gotten jobs working on a haunted hayride.
Oh.
So he and I decided that the really fun thing to do would be to sneak into the haunted hayride and scare them.
Right.
So we found a back way through like a cow pasture to get out to the haunted hayride, and we were sneaking in when we got busted by security.
Oh,
so we went running as fast as we could to get away back across the cow pasture. What we did not consider was there might be electric fence out in the cow pasture to keep the cows from wandering too far. So I caught the electric fence. I kind of run with my chest out when I'm running. So I caught the electric fence right across my chest. Unfortunately, when he runs straight up and down. He caught it right across his groin.
Oh!
And I remember it stopped me in my tracks. You know, like when you get hit by a shock like that, I was standing up straight, just like ripping my fist as I was being shocked. And I turn around, and there he was lying on the ground, grabbing his groin.
And it shocked him, huh? How many volts go through that thing?
I don't know how many volts are an electric fence. You would think I'd know that growing up on a farm. We had one around our pig pen. I remember my brother got me to pee on it when I was a little kid. But,
oh, my God. I can't believe he did that. That's crazy.
Have you seen my wiener?
Yeah.
Yes, it's electrocuted now. I now have magical powers through my wiener.
It's smoldering on the ground. My wiener! I was going to play that. Oh, my nutsack wouldn't, but
my partner and I used to work for the FBI. We were called Smolder and Scully.
You're... Oh. Demon Hunter!
GhostMan!
Listeners around the world?
Yes.
Tonight's guest.
Dun, dun, dun.
Author of the new book, For Nobody's Eyes Only, Missing Government Files and Hidden Archives that document the truth behind the most enduring conspiracy theories in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, author Nick Redfern stops by the studio to rap about it with your Bad Boys of Shadow, the GhostMan and Demon Hunter show. Demon Hunter. He's going to talk about all kinds of strange secrets. You know Redfern, he came back on probably our third year. We've been on about 7 years now. He was a guest on our show. And he's had so many...
Now that you say that, yeah.
Yeah, he's had so many books out there, I can't even tell you. Strange Secrets, Real Government Files and Covers Up. Monsters. He's been on Monster Quest so many times, I can't even tell you. He's been on the hunt of the Swamp Thing, the Sasquatch, aliens, and things we haven't even heard about. So we go inside the real-life X-Files tonight, and we get the scoop from author Nick Redfern.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Nick Redfern, everybody. Can you stand it, baby? Hey, tonight's band, Demon Hunter.
Yeah, they were a bit of a flashback there with that sound. Tell me about them.
The Headless Horseman, guys. Check them out online. Just Google The Headless Horseman. Not man, The Headless Horseman. And they're kind of like a off 70s, early 80s type. I really liked it. Well, maybe like 60s, like the... Beatles, kind of Beatle-ish, right?
Yeah.
I guess you could say that. The Headless Horseman, guys. Check them out. Headless Horseman. I just messed it up. I said Horseman. Thanks, guys, for the tunes. I mean,
I can't imagine, Sean, you picking a band with the title The Headless Horseman.
Well, yeah, we were actually working on a guest that would have made sense with, but in true G&D show fashion, what are we going to do? We got a good one, though. We got a good one for the Halloween Spooktastic show.
Because, Halloween is not just ghosts, it's not just pumpkins, it's not just trick-or-treating.
What else is it?
It's other stuff, too.
Yeah. Candy. You said trick-or-treating, you didn't say candy.
That's true.
See? You left that wide open for me. Because a lot of people would argue that it is just about candy. See, I like this time of year for the smell. It puts me in the mood. The burning leaves, just everything puts me in the mood for... let's say sex, but that's all the time. It puts me in the mood for everything's just slower, spirit activity. You can imagine more the veil between the living and the dead, being its thinnest, and people seem to be more laid back, not sweaty, and going, oh my God, it's hot out today. So, yeah.
Hey, did you know, Sean, that tomorrow, October 28th, more candy will be sold than any other day of the year.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Are you
That
going to go?
in Alabama, it is illegal to dress up as a priest for Halloween.
Is it really?
It is. You can't put on your priestly robes and go out and confuse people.
Now, why couldn't you do that?
It's illegal to dress up like a priest. They don't even allow it on Halloween.
Isn't that like a religious thing, though? I mean, that's freedom of the some kind of amendment, right?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, the people vote on those laws, and if they pass, they pass.
I'll dress up like I won. They can't say nothing.
In New York City, the Village's Halloween parade is the largest Halloween parade in the United States, with over 2 million spectators.
Really?
Yeah. In Hollywood, there is a $1,000 fine for using silly string on Halloween.
Using where at?
In Hollywood, California.
Oh my God! Don't they have enough to worry about? I mean, you got Spider-Man a couple months back that was going around, grabbing people's, boobs or whatever.
Well, speaking of spiders, Sean, according to the legend, if you see a spider on Halloween, it's actually the spirit of one of your loved ones watching over you.
A spider is the spirit of it.
Yeah.
I hope I don't come back as a spider. I don't want to be a spider. Maybe a gigolo or something. Like a porn star. Demon Hunter!
GhostMan!
You seem like you're full of information, so let's just start. G&D show in the news. It's always hot. It's always fresh. Sometimes it's a little weird. It's always fun and exciting. And it starts right
now.
Ooh.
That one actually went on time.
Yeah,
how'd that happen?
It wasn't bad at all. Hey, wait until we check the archive. Our sound levels will be drowning everything out. That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I got the first one tonight, right? I'm ready. Want me to get the first one?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Nail down the tongue. Ancient magician's curse found in Jerusalem, Demon Hunter.
Wow.
This comes out of Live Science magazine, I guess. You ready for this?
Sure.
Israel's always got cool stuff going on. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready. Go with it. Move.
A lead curse tablet dating back around 1700 years and probably written by a magician has been discovered in a collapsed Roman mansion in Jerusalem. This is what the archaeologists drink up, guys.
Just have a drink, folks. By the way, folks, don't forget the G&D drinking game. If Sean and I make a mistake while reading the news, it's your job to take a drink. Of course, if you're driving, listening to this on a podcast, don't drink while you're driving. And if you're going to drive after the show, drink and then sleep at your friend's house. Don't hang out. Don't get in your car.
Yeah.
Other than that, we take no responsibility for what happens after this. The G&D drinking game in the news.
Archaeologists reported on that. The mansion, which is being excavated by the Israel Antiquities Authority in the Gevedi, drink up guys, parking lot, is located in what is known as the City of David. You've heard of that one before. An area that holds at least 6,000 years of human occupation. The mansion itself covers at least 2,000 square meters, about half an acre, and contains 2 large open courtyards adjacent to each other. It was in use between the late 3rd century and the year 363 when it was destroyed in a series of earthquakes on May 18th or 19th. How they figure that out? May 18th or 19th? We don't know.
Somebody left the calendar open.
I guess. It says it's written in Greek. In the inscription, a woman named Karila invokes the name of 6 gods to cast a curse on a man named, oh God, drink up heavy, guys, Enos. It's Iennys. In America, we say Enos. Named Enos in Israel. Apparently, over legal...
golly! Oh, wait, no, that's the wrong one there.
So this chick invokes the name of 6 gods to cast a curse on a man named Enos, apparently over a legal case. I strike and strike down and nail down the tongue, the eyes, the wrath, the ear, the anger, the procrastination, the opposition of Enos. Part of the curse reads in translation, Karila asked the gods to ensure that he in no way oppose, so that he say or perform nothing adverse to Karila, but rather than Enos, whom the womb bore, be subject to her. Huh?
Well, now that this curse is out there, Sean, you and I better behave, because our wives might lay this on us, and it's tough to have a radio career if you can't talk.
No, your tongue down. A professional magician likely created the curse for Krilla, they say, Demon Hunter, who may have literally used a hammer and nails to perform a magical rite that enhanced the effectiveness of the curse. I thought that was kind of intriguing. Intriguing!
It's intriguing.
Special
hey,
thanks.
This one, Sean, I actually got... I know, folks, we normally say we don't read the news before we do the show, but this one comes from my local paper, so I had to throw it out there.
Yeah.
In Waterbury, Connecticut. A man attacks police with bird.
Ooh.
I know it's not spooky or spectacular in such a way, folks, but I just found it funny, so I wanted to read it here tonight. A Waterbury man faces charges, including animal cruelty, after police say he threw an exotic bird at the police officer.
What kind of bird was it?
From the description, I think it was a cockatoo.
A cockatoo.
A cockatoo. The
You
man
can't
threw
throw
his
a cockatoo
at the police.
You can't throw your cockatoo to the police? What's wrong with this guy?
Louis have a drink, folks.
I'll punch you in the mouth.
Louis Santana
Right.
was spotted holding a bird running on High Street Tuesday night. The local man was armed with a parrot, apparently.
Jeez, and he was running on High Street. Is that code for something,
That's
man?
the quote. When this, by the way, folks, News Times, from the News Times.
See?
When officers tried to stop and question him, Santana threw a cockatoo at the officer and ran into the woods. The 32-year-old man was found in a nearby house. From what I've heard, it wasn't his own, Sean. After a homeowner reported someone had run into his basement. Police say the bird, which didn't belong to Santana, wasn't harmed.
Wow.
Wasn't harmed. It didn't talk to the police. So apparently the bird didn't make a statement.
Oh my God.
They tracked down the owner, who retrieved the bird on Wednesday.
Right.
So Santana is being held on charges. That wasn't cleared. It wasn't clear if he had hired an attorney. But the funny thing is, this is like a local story, Sean, and I looked it up. I couldn't find the News Times report because it was in every major news network across the country.
Oh, so right now, the cockatoo bearer is in jail, and he has a big cellmate. And no doubt, when the cellmate found out, what are you in for? He said, "Well, I showed a cockatoo." And the cellmate says,
I'll punch you in the mouth.
He don't want a guy like that. I mean, you can't consort with those types.
He was accused
I'm
of
ready for
hurling.
sex.
By the way, this was in another report. I believe I got it off of Fox News. I'm not sure, but he's also, I believe, being charged with assault on an officer because when he threw the cockatoo at the police, the cockatoo bit the officer on the finger.
Oh, he's in for a long
I'm ready
time.
for sex.
Yeah.
The bird chomped down on his finger. The police said.
Oh wow. Wow. I bet the cop made that up. Don't you?
Very possibly. Very possibly.
Cops can make things up. Come on, man. It's a bird. Take the guy to the hospital. He apparently needs professional help. I got one, Demon Hunter. I don't think you're ready for it, but I got it.
Go ahead.
All right. As soon as it comes up here on the G&D news screen, I'll be ready to go with it. Hey, this comes from our friends, the Huffington Post. We love these guys, Demon Hunter. By
Oh, yes, we
reporter,
do. They give us so much news.
almost weekly, right? Right?
Yes, indeedy.
Oh, yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. Did you have anything up there on your screen to go with? Because apparently mine's not going to load up on me. I don't understand.
I was actually expecting you to read this one, so I didn't bring anything up, but...
No. Wait. It's loading. For some reason, the computer's slow tonight, guys, here in studio. I don't understand it, Huge payment plan here. At
You
the,
gonna go on?
Oh, I probably could as soon as it... Go ahead. Proceed,
Okay,
sir.
Ellen DeGeneres freaks out staffers
Ooh.
by sending them to a Walking Dead haunted house.
Yeah, they won't have them.
Some people have scary bosses, but if you work for Ellen DeGeneres,
Yeah.
for the Ellen DeGeneres show, your boss may go all out to have people scare you. DeGeneres has made it an October tradition
Yeah.
to send show writer Amy Rhodes,
Roads.
who's easily frightened, to haunted houses. This year, the host made the executive producer Andy Lassner and join Rhodes and have a drink, folks. and the resulting video offers twice the terror-driven hilarity.
Right.
So Lasser and Amy went to the Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, yeah.
And oh my God, this is one of my favorite things I've ever done, DeGeneres said. Of course, she wasn't there. She sent other people.
Right.
And it's her favorite thing she's ever done.
You know, she could get like an OJI claim, man. Some people, you can't send your employees. You know.
He's got emotional problems, man.
You know what I mean? You can't send your employees.
Let's remember, Sean, you and I have worked for television, and once you sign that contract, they can do anything they want to.
Oh, that's true. That's true. She could get an OJI claim, though. You gotta be careful about that.
The haunted... Listen to the man from the union. The haunted house was Walking Dead themed, so Rose and Lassner had to walk through the creepy recreation of the Georgia prison. That sounds cool. The characters on the AMC hit use as a safe haven from the zombies.
Yeah.
It's not so safe, for Rhodes and Lassner, though, as the... Oh boy, I should have read this one before, folks. As the darkened prison halls and cells are full of bloody, disgusting zombies who will leap out and grab you at every turn. At one point, Rhodes claims chides Lassner for his insistence on using her as a block to protect himself as they walk through the haunted halls.
Oh,
why are you hiding behind me? She shrieks.
Right.
You're a man. Be a man. Be a man. Boy, I hope we don't get sued by Lassner for that one.
Just because you're a man doesn't mean you want to go first on everything. You know what I mean?
Both of them equally terrified, but Lassner takes his fear out on the zombies, shouting, "I get it. They come out at you. And stop it now."
Right.
And when Rhodes calls him out on pushing her forward, he has a bizarre explanation. They knew you. They're not gonna grab you.
Yeah.
He says, I'm a guy. So I guess his excuse for not acting like a man was that he was a man.
Well, I mean, you know, you got to be careful in the workplace.
Sexual harassment is no joke, sweet cans.
You know what I mean?
Today entertainment, folks. Go ahead, John.
That's it, sweet cans. Man helps rescue family from house fire. Goes back to save beer.
I thought you'd like that one.
I would. I did. When it finally came up, it only took, 2 hours. Man helps rescue family from house fire, guys. This is true. Over a beer. The Huffington Post reports. Thanks, guys. Here we go. Budweiser phased out its Real Men of Genius commercials in 2008. But this man may be enough to bring them out of retirement. In the vein, today, we salute you, Mr. Run into a burning building to save a beer, man. While others are fearing for their safety and wondering what to do, you courageously dive back into the inferno, jeopardizing your own safety and possibly the safety of the firefighters for just one more round. That real-life man of genius is Walter Serpent, a Columbus, Georgia resident demon hunter who was watching television, probably The Walking Dead, at his house Thursday afternoon when a new water heater is believed to have started a fire. As the room filled with smoke, Serpent and 5 other adults and 2 children escaped to safety, reports ABC 2 News. Once clear of the structure, though, Serpent had other things on his mind. It wasn't the possible loss of family photos, beloved pets, or family heirlooms, Demon Hunter. No! Serpent ventured back into the burning building to rescue some beers. I'm proud of this guy. I told them to get the kids out and everything. And me, myself, being an alcoholic, I was trying to get my beer out. Hey, this guy ain't pulling no punches, man. He said later to WTVM that he was, trying to get his beer out of the house. I went back into the house like a dummy, and the door shut on me because this backdraft was about to kill me. Fortunately, he escaped the inferno once more without injury, this time with a couple beers. No one was harmed in the incident. Bravo, ECO. Bravo. Bravo, Demon Hunter.
Bravo. I'm glad that people only had to take a couple drinks for that one. In fact, I bet he's listening right now, drinking those beers while he's listening to the GhostMan and
Sexual
Demon Hunter show.
harassment is no joke, sweet cans.
He's, I like that guy. I mean, I know the firefighters can't get him hurt or anything, but you gotta like a guy that does. I mean, he wasn't trying to get anybody hurt. He got the family to safety, and, he just ran back in to get his stuff.
Having spent some time as a firefighter, Sean, you're taught to get the people out of the house first.
Right.
Then the pets. And if you can, save any of their valuable merchandise.
Right.
So he was just, following the same kind of rules. He got his family out, didn't have pets, so, went back in for the beer.
Yeah. If I ever catch you in a fire.
Now let's you just drop them pants.
That's why nobody wants to be caught alone with you, Sean, because then they get a fire in their pants.
Demon Hunter!
GhostMan!
Here we go.
Hi, this is Matt Milk from the Zombie Research Society, and here's your weekly update from the G&D Zombie Alert System. Now back to you, Sean and Nate.
Thanks, Matt!
Thank you, Matt! It's that time again, folks, where we here at the GhostMan and Demon Hunter show start scrolling through the internet news, the CDC disease reports, to hunt down any stories of chemical and biological spills to find out for you, our listeners, if there's any danger of a zombie apocalypse.
Ooh.
It's all part of what we call the Zombie Alert System, brought to you by the Zombie Research Society and Midnight Syndicate, and it starts right now. This week, the Zombie Alert is blue.
Yeah.
That's guarded, if you remember, folks. Why, you may ask? Well, we are guarded because after a rabies quarantine in Yellowstone this summer, we all remember that mutated rabies can create zombies.
Zits! You were going to say can create zits.
They can create zits, too. You ever see those zombies? They got a lot of zits. They can create zombies. This is a possibility we learned by watching World War Z and the movie Quarantine.
Yeah.
And the fact that at least 13 people were exposed to the rabies virus, we decided we had better be guarded. As for the CDC reports from the summer up until leading up to right now, have included salmonella from chicken.
Ooh.
This isn't news, folks, so you don't have to take a drink, but you probably will.
Don't eat chicken right now.
Well, that was over the summer, but cyclospora, there we go, from salad vegetables.
Yeah.
I believe those vegetables were brought in from Mexico.
Yeah.
Hepatitis A from pomegranate seeds.
Wow.
And a new influenza A called H3N2. None of these really put us at any risk of zombies, as far as we know.
Right.
But a neighborhood in Oshkosh.
My gosh.
Is
that where the jeans come from for kids?
I think so, yeah.
That's
you still wear those, right? The husky ones?
I think so. They don't make husky Oshkosh. Guys in the chat room, GD Nation, Google that. Do they make husky Oshkosh for kids?
A neighborhood in Oshkosh was exposed after a 600-gallon spill of
molasses.
Muriatic acid.
Drink!
was reported in September.
Yeah.
No zombies were reported following the accident, but we're always suspicious of the reports of the mainstream media since, they're always trying to cover that stuff up.
Right.
So, to keep up on the most up-to-date zombie reports, remember to follow the GhostMan and Demon Hunter Facebook page, and you can listen right here at the GhostMan and Demon Hunter show, folks.
And moving on, guys, this week's news segment. We're bringing two at you. Demon Hunter just finished with the GhostMan and Demon Hunter Zombie Advisory System. Possibly save your life. You're welcome, America. Moving on. That's right. Moving on. This week's segment, guys, Rot Talk. We ran out of space, so we had to share the page. But Rot Talk, guys, if you don't know about it, we started it last year, of course, with we started it when the Walking Dead started, Demon Hunter.
That's right. So, folks, remember, Rock Talk is not spoiler-free. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen, but we will be talking about shows that have already occurred. So if you're catching up, this may be the time you want to stick your fingers in your ears and go la, 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 la.
La.
Because We are going to be discussing the shows up to this point. We are also going to be, I guess, trying to figure out what's going to happen. That doesn't mean it necessarily will happen, but anybody who listened to the Mike Rooker episode knows that when I jokingly said, "So your character's gonna die, right?" He got real silent. That went out.
You heard it here first, guys, on your G&D show. We did have Mikey on, and he was cool, man. I think we were the first show that ever had Michael Rooker on while he was doing Pilates. Or kata, not Pilates.
Yeah, he was doing his kata in the backyard.
He's going to come spear me with these knife hands. Yeah. I think he's in Disney now, working on some new project. I miss him, man. I miss him on
as a Disney prince. That should be interesting.
See? He'll stab those cards in Alice in Wonderland. I always hated those creepy cards. You remember the Queen's Guardsman?
Yeah, he's going to punch right through all of them, just like the punch at like a casino.
Yeah.
When they get done with the cards, he's just going to right
and
through.
Handcuff them to the roof. Anyway, guys, on this edition of Rot Talk, we're going to be talking about what comes up with The Walking Dead, what's happened in the past with The Walking Dead, because it is the epic saga that's going on right now. Across the land, everybody's loving it. And,
everybody's talking about it.
Everybody's talking about it. And you had a story about that. We'll get to that later, though. The very first one, we're 3 episodes into season, what is this? Season 4? Season 5? 4 or 5?
Is it season 5? No, it's season 4.
Season 4. Okay, we're 3 episodes. Tonight will be the 4th episode. The first episode, this is where you close your ears, guys, if you haven't caught up. The first episode, Demon Hunter, that kid didn't feel good. They had brought people in, guys, from, what was the name of the town with the governor?
Oh, sure. You throw that one at me.
Rosewood. Welcome to Rosewood. No, Rosewood was the cowboy show. What was it? Ask the people in the chat room. They watch TV. G&D Nation. Anyway, they come
right now.
Yeah, they come from that town in Georgia, and they whooped on the governor. He's disappeared right now, but I got a creepy suspicion that he's hiding out in the bushes somewhere.
Woodbury.
Yeah, welcome to Woodbury. You can see the confusion. What'd I say? Rosewood? Woodbury? I knew there was a wood in there somewhere.
You're always thinking wood.
Yeah. But they had the thanks, Jed. They had the kid died. He said, I don't feel good. And he went to the thing. He was bleeding out his nose and mouth, and all of a sudden he's got like this cold. Well, apparently they had never planned for natural deaths. You know what I'm saying? They got all these people, and the more people you get, the more stuff's going to happen. So this kid collapses at the thing. We all know that. And now he's inside the prison. Last week, oh my God, he's up. They must have lost, I don't know.
I think they lost 7 people. I'm not. Don't quote me on that one, but I think it was about 7.
I'm going to say 3 or 4. But the thing that happened last week, Demon Hunter, that's got everybody shook up this week. The lady and the guy they had symptoms. They were coughing. They don't know if it's a flu virus. They don't know if it's some kind of zombie, whatever in the air. There was a trail of blood from the holding cell where they had kept them to keep them separated. Trail of blood all the way outside. And there were lying the burnt, smoldering carcasses of these 2 possibly infected people and 2 things of gas cans next to them. So somebody got in there and burned them up, Demon Hunter.
Well, before we even get into that, Sean, let's go into the fact that this virus, whatever it is that's killing the folks, is actually, they do believe it's a kind of flu virus that causes the lungs to fill up with blood.
Yeah.
And then basically your eyes, nose, mouth act like a cork, and finally you just like pretty much choke on your own blood.
I think so.
Which is why your eyes bleed and everything like that. And if you've noticed, the zombies, several of the zombies up against the fence have the same blood coming from their eyes. So maybe the zombies carry this virus.
You know, I did see that little bit.
I gotta watch you.
I seen that last week because that's why, and I didn't get that till the second time I watched it on DVR because Rick stops. When they're knocking the fence down, he stops. He sees that one zombie cat, and his eyes were bleeding. I didn't catch that on the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, now remember, too, some of the pigs have been dying.
Yeah.
Which means, we've all heard of swine flu.
Yeah.
Pigs are a big carrier of these diseases. So is the disease actually airborne?
I don't know. Or...
Because if the pigs inside the actual fence can catch it, well... Right. And now we also have the fact that somebody is feeding the zombies.
Right. I think it's that one guy. The black guy... that has been acting weird since day one. I think it's him.
You know what? I don't. I think it's what's. Oh gosh, now I'm going to be the dumb one here. Who's the son?
You dummy, Carl.
Carl. I think it's Carl.
Are you crazy?
To the
I think
Batmobile.
it's Carl's feeding the zombies. I mean, who else wants a zombie attack so he can fight?
He's not that nuts. He did. Come to think of it, he has backed off. Carl has quite a bit. He's like, oh, Daddy, I had to touch the machine gun. I'm so sorry. I had to touch it when the zombies were bum rushing the prison. You know what I'm saying? His dad's like, hey, that's cool. You know,
I'm glad you told me.
I appreciate it, son.
Scotty, beat me up.
Yeah. See? Shatner would say, beam me up out of there. But that's Rot Talk, Demon Hunter.
That's Rock Talk. Hey, Sean, but before we get out of Rock Talk, we have to say what we think's going to happen this week.
We do have to say, but remember the brainwashing.
Oh, the brainwashing. That's right. We have to throw in the fact that...
I shouldn't have wrapped Rot Talk.
I'm going to actually take this from, our friend Terry over at Paranormal A sent me a link to a story on Bloody Discussions.
Oh, thanks, Terry.
Regarding this, but I'm actually going to go into it from the raw story that Fox News says The Walking Dead is brainwashing viewers to participate in a new world order.
Oh.
Dr. Manny Alvarez wrote a column that says even more spectacular... even more than the zombie violence involved. The idea of a zombie infection a zombie infected world inspires fantasies of monsters possessed by uncontrollable rage to kill. Get a thrill imagining what it would be like to participate in this new world order. But Sean, people are like arguing this left and right, but you and I have mentioned how there are people who just would like to see a zombie apocalypse because they're tired of the world the way it is.
Well, they are, and they think that, we need a good scrubbing. Every day they see somebody on crack or somebody. Now we got people eating people's faces off because they're blaming rock salts or whatever. We've always had nuts, folks. Things have always been rough at times, okay, in America and around the world, and they're always going to be rough, and bad things happen for no reason to good folks sometimes. The only difference is media is so crazy nowadays, and it's so widespread that we get to see every little kid that gets taken away and every unfortunate and terrible tragic event. We see it, and we have an overload because we're only human, man. You know what I'm saying? And we get overloaded every day, Demon Hunter, with all this crap, whereas back in the day, they knew what happened in their community. So I think it's good and bad what's going down. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, man, and it's but it's one of those things. Now opinion. We're looking at this. Are people being? I don't think the plan of Walking Dead is to brainwash people.
No.
But I think that people are allowing themselves to be sucked into the story enough that maybe they're like, oh, this would actually be good.
Dude, Demon Hunter, we have done festivals, okay? There's Renaissance festivals. You just mentioned one. Comic-Con. We'll be working those in the future again. Comic-Con, that's what those people do. If you went in there and you asked them if they would go to anime, if a cartoon character came out of the TV and said, come join our world, 99.9% of those folks would jump in the TV, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just people, they find their own cliques anymore. Shoot, me and you probably would. If we could get, doing something we love to do, we would do it too. The world is rough, man. Working all the time and doing things. That's why we do this show, Demon Hunter. This show is an escape for people to get lost once a week from all the stupid, crazy stuff out there.
We certainly get lost. And hey, before I get lost in it completely, let me throw out this shout out to my friend Siobhan, who works with me, who actually sent me that story about the parrot tonight. But
I'm ready for sex.
What are you thinking is going to happen next on Walking Dead, bro?
I think tonight we're going to discover who's putting the. They're going to get off of the who burnt the bodies, and they're going to do a little bit of that, but they're not going to discover who burnt the bodies, but they're going to find out who's feeding the zombies. And I think it's not out of the realm of possibilities, Demon Hunter, that the governor doesn't make a cameo.
I don't think the governor's going to make a cameo yet.
Well, you're wrong.
I do think he's coming back, but I don't think he makes a cameo tonight.
What do you think he's doing right now?
I'm ready for sex.
I think he's probably putting together a bunch of zombies to Hey, what if, I still think it's probably Carl, but what if somebody's working for the governor inside those fences?
That's what I'm saying. And it's that black guy. He was wanting a drink of booze. He was so nervous. He's scared to death. He's surrounded by these people, and he's trying to fake that he's cool every day, and you never see him. He only pops up here and there. People got the feeling, but you're right. They could throw a twist at the last minute. So
they're good at that.
Hey, do you want to go on to Legend X series?
Sure, let's do a Legend X series. We're probably going to have to hold on these after a while because our time's running out. But let's just throw out one that we've talked about in the past.
Here we go, guys. An original G&D exclusive Legend X. What is Legend X?
Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is when Sean and I scour the internet once again to go out and find stories, legends, tales, creepy campfire, religious ceremonies. Who knows what we're going to talk about? But what it comes down to is every town has a legend, and we're out to find it. And we tell you all about it right here on GhostMan and Demon Hunter Show's Legend X.
Tonight's legend. You've seen him in the Boggy Creek, the Legend of Boggy Creek. The real name, based on it. Actually, the Legend of Boggy Creek was based on a true story. The Folk Monster, F-O-U-K-E. I said Folk Monster. Guys, it's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal out there, Demon Hunter.
It is.
It's a huge deal. They got I'm showing pictures of the Monster Mart right now. People make money off of this. Can you believe it, man?
I used to have a friend from Arkansas who I told her I want to come to Arkansas. She passed away, but Cynthia was her name, and I always said I want to come down to Falk and hunt the monster.
Well, yeah.
And she looked at me and went, "Really? You want to come to Falk?" Because apparently, since that movie was filmed in like 1971, the town pretty much hasn't changed.
Wow. Well, I know that town is spooky, and the movie was done. The movie, for some reason, stays in everybody's memory. There was something.
It was so bad.
I know.
Not that we're a critic or anything.
No, not that we're a critic, but it was terrible. But it did have something.
Yeah.
It had a spice of spookiness to it.
Because it was, written, directed, and produced by just a guy who wanted to tell the story. It had that touch of truth to it because you knew he was just trying to tell the story of his town.
That's it. What was going on? And then I remember they got that old man out there, and he said he had lived in the woods. Remember, he had skins and everything all over his little shed, and he's like, I have never seen no folk monster out here. But you know what? Old guys like that, even if they've seen it, they're going to say it was something else.
Yeah.
Because you just didn't
know there was an escaped gorilla back in 1902.
Yeah.
And probably had babies out there in the swamp somewhere.
Right. He won't say he's seen the folk monster, but he'll say, Captain Hook's ghost roams the swamp, though. Or
and if
whatever.
you come into this swamp after dark and I don't know who you are, I'm liable to shoot you with my shotgun.
You'll be the next ghost, y'all. Yeah.
For those who haven't seen the classic Legend of Boggy Creek.
Boggy Creek. Yes.
That's the trailer above. Sorry, I'm reading from the article. You're not going to see the trailer, folks. Let's fill you in with some of the background.
You did what
the Falk monster is a humanoid cryptoid living in the Texarkana, Oklahoma border.
Woo doggy.
The Texas Arkansas Oklahoma border.
Say?
The Texarkana area.
Who's
has
not
red
living
eyes
there?
And smells really, really bad.
Ooh.
Okay, well, so let's see what else it says. So it's been lumped in with other such type monsters under the same umbrella as the skunk ape and Bigfoot. These sightings are similar, but they have slight differences. The Falk monster fever actually hit its height in 1971, the year I was born. Coincidence? Maybe not. When the ape overstepped its bounds and reached through a screen door to attack Elizabeth Ford. Ford's husband, Bobby, and his brother, Don, were returning home from a hunting trip and were able to chase it away, but later it came back and attacked Bobby.
Bobby, no!
No, Bobby, no!
I'm ready for sex.
The creature itself... I can't believe I'm reading this.
Hey, he reached through the screen and grabbed little Bobby and said...
I'm ready for sex.
And Bobby pooped.
And Bobby let him have his way.
The creature itself was never found, but it did leave behind some footprints, which it will not surprise you to learn were big.
Wow.
Like any other big, tall store shopping. I don't know. Let's.
Maybe it was that hillbilly guy out in the shed back here in the woods made
Several claim that it was a hoax to help promote the movie, but since the reports have been coming in for years, both before and after the film, chances are something was spited. I just said it so many times that people are drunk now listening. So it's, but basically, dude, let's face it. Everything everybody knows about this thing we saw in the Boggy Creek the legend of Boggy Creek.
That's it. We need somebody to go down there and interview the folks, see what's been going on since Boggy Creek days.
It's you and I need to go down there.
We need to head down, man.
We need to buy like a barrel of DEET and some beef jerky, and just because we've all learned from those commercials that Bigfoot loves beef jerky.
And go playing with Sasquatch, baby.
I'm ready for 6.
See? We'll go play with Sasquatch.
I'm all for it. Let's go.
Demon Hunter, the time is upon us, sir.
Already?
Already. Ladies and gentlemen, Demon Hunter, tonight's guest, it'll be Nick Redfern, guys, author of the new book, For Nobody's Eyes Only, the missing government files and hidden archives that document the truth behind the most enduring conspiracy theories, strange secrets, and much, much more. Tonight on the G&D show, we're going to go to break. Demon Hunter, you ready to go to break?
The break starts right now.
We'll be right back, guys.
Let me tell you about a girl I know. When she walks in the room, she puts on a show. Longest legs and the tightest skirt. All the other women saying she's just absurd. She got talent.
Hello, darling. This is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and you're listening to the GhostMan and Demon Hunter show.
That's right, G&D Nation. Listeners around the world, welcome back to the Mystifying Oracle Radio, your GhostMan and Demon Hunter show for a Halloween spooktacular show, Demon Hunter.
Spectacular.
Spooky tactic. I think
something's definitely spooky, Sean.
I think it is.
Because we managed to come back in from the show, and my microphone is working.
We are actually on time tonight. This is so spooky, guys. I don't know. It's the first time.
This only happens once a year when the veil parts and the spirits enter.
That's it, guys. Hey, tonight's band, that was She Shakes It All Night, the Headless Horsemen, guys. Find out more about them at, I think it's www.headlesshorseman.com, or just Google Headless Horseman. Of course, not man, Headless Horsemen.
The Horsemen. Is that kind of like the Lone Rangers?
I think so. But tonight's guest, Demon Hunter. Special treat, old friend of the show. We had him on before. You know him. We love him. Author of For Nobody's Eyes Only, the missing government files and hidden archives that document the truth behind the most enduring conspiracy theories out there. Mr. Nick Redfern. Nick, what's going on, brother?
Hey, guys. I'm doing good, thanks. How's it going?
Outstanding. Are you getting ready for Halloween? You getting geared up, buddy?
Oh, yeah. I love Halloween. It's kind of like... it's a cool time when everybody can be spooky and not have to worry about it.
This is the time of year Sean likes the fact that he can get away with wearing his wife's dresses out and
do a little cross-dressing there. It's okay. Makes it legal. Yuck it up, fellas. Yuck it up. But Nick, I tell you, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they'd actually asked me. They were talking about the black government helicopters following people around and stuff, and they said, "Sean, you do radio. You guys have been on the air for over 7 years. Do you know anybody that you would think would be followed by government helicopters?" I said, there's one man, and that's Nick Redfern, because the cat has so many books out there about government, X-Files type stuff and monsters. I mean, what about it, man? Do you got helicopters like hovering the house right now? Are you underground or what?
No. No, I mean, joking aside, what I do with my books, all my information comes through the Freedom of Information Act, which, is stuff that's legally and being declassified by the government. I'm not some Edward Snowden type running around, leaking stuff. Everything I get is the agencies let us see,
Right. Well, Nick, I have a question for you, because Sean and I did a show once where we were talking to somebody in Russia, and we joked that the KGB was still, active, and all of a sudden... our line got cut.
Well, I think, joking aside, I think agencies probably do watch people in the UFO field because some of it does relate to official secrecy. But, as I said, I'm someone who takes more like a journalistic approach and sort of goes to government archives and reviews the available files. I'm not somebody sort of hacking into computer systems or running around.
Sure.
Like I said, some Edward Snowden type character. It's sort of, I take the same approach that, I look at it from the perspective the same way somebody might who's researching a book on the Second World War. They go to government archives, they see the files that are available, interview guys who are in the war. I kind of do that with the UFO subject, So in that sense, it's kind of very different, if you like.
Yeah, but one
of the things that I got from looking at your book is part of what you do is look at these things that, thanks to the Freedom of Information Act, are available to you, but you open up, look through them, and go, okay, there's something between here and here that's missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of the theme of the book. To give you a good example, the book starts with probably the biggest conspiracy that everybody knows about, Roswell. Whatever happened, something strange crashed in the deserts outside of Roswell, New Mexico in the summer of '47. And it's interesting that the military has actually changed its story 4 times. First, they did say, well, we found a flying disc. Then 24 hours later, they said, sorry, it was a weather balloon. In 1994, they said it was something called a mogul balloon, which was designed to monitor for Soviet atomic bomb tests. But they said, well, mogul balloons didn't have crews, so all the stories about alien bodies are just fake. But then in 97, they changed the story again and said, well, bodies were found, but they were crash test dummies used in parachute experiments. So, you know, you have a lot of conflicting stories, which makes a lot of people think there's a conspiracy. But the theme of the book was sort of missing material. In 1993, the government's accounting office, as it was called at the time, began looking into Roswell to try and figure out what happened. And they actually found that and this isn't hearsay or rumor, this is actually fact, every single outgoing message from the Roswell Army base for the period of the Roswell event is missing. It just cannot be found anywhere. And, you know, we don't know if it's been shredded, destroyed, or if it's hidden. But the official record is that they went looking for it, and all those documents from that period are just gone. You know, they've just been lifted or whatever.
Yeah, there's no way. Doesn't this kill you? It's the same thing with ghosts and the paranormal. We've been doing this for years, Nick, and I know you have too. You lay in bed at night, and the more you find out, the more your mind just goes into overdrive, doesn't it, brother? How do you deal with that? Because you got the scoop, just like the X-Files says. The truth is out there, you know?
I mean, the way I deal with it is actually I kind of like to sort of spread things between like a work life, which is the research and the writing I do, and then have a normal life, you know. So what I actually do, I like to keep, when I'm researching or writing, I like to keep regular hours, like 8 to 5, then, you know, 7 o'clock at night, I crack open a beer and watch the English soccer, you know, or go down the pub with friends. And
ole, 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 ole.
Band or whatever. So I like to not get obsessed, you know. One's research, it's a fascination and it's work, and then I sort of have a regular fun social life, you know, the other side of it. So that way it stops you going crazy, you know.
Now, Nick, I got to ask you, because you're the only man I could possibly ask to get this answer, what was missing from the 18 minutes and 20 seconds of Nixon's tapes?
Well, that's a very good question. If we knew, you know, I guess would have written that chapter in the book. But yeah, I mean, this is an interesting one as well, that at the height of the Watergate thing in 1973, which led to the resignation of President Nixon, a lot of his phone calls he would record, you know, so he could basically, you know, have information on whoever it was he was speaking to in case it was ever needed. Mm-hmm. But there's one particular telephone conversation that he had right around the time of Watergate with one of the people involved, and 18 minutes of it is deleted. And the story is that his secretary, who was very loyal to him, wiped it by mistake. But there are a lot of intriguing angles to it, explaining how, for example, it would be very, very difficult for her to actually be on the phone speaking to somebody else at the time, which was claimed, and delete the conversation at the same time. She'd have to go through some weird process, which clearly wasn't feasible. So the theory is that there was something on this conversation that was so important about Watergate that a decision was taken to delete it. And there was actually an entire government inquiry just into this missing 18 minutes, and they even brought in sort of like technical people to try and figure out if there was a way to sort of restore the, you know, the tape itself, but there wasn't. So clearly whatever was on that 18 minutes, it was so important that somebody high up wanted it gone, and it was gone.
So you don't hold to the idea that he was listening to Alice's restaurant in the background and he just didn't want the hippies to know that he listened to Arlo Guthrie?
Well, that could have been even more significant reason to wipe it out. You never know.
I don't know. But see, Nick, you're so close to it. I know you've written the books and everything. How deep do you think this goes with the government? I mean, how much are they covering up here? I mean, I know you can't come out and say it, but you know.
A lot of this, when people say the government this or the government that, I actually don't paint the government per se as the bad guys at all. What I actually think, within this sort of official world of secrecy, you have what are called special access programs, or SAPs. And that's where, for example, they can be so highly classified that literally even the president doesn't really know what they do, and Congress knows nothing about them. And I think a lot of these sort of missing files and stuff that goes missing and, you know, vanished material, I think it probably ends up in these special access programs. So when the government says, you know, we don't have anything on Roswell, I don't think ironically, you know, for somebody who digs into conspiracies, I don't think the government is actually lying, because I think the people who make the responses and say, you know, we've looked, we haven't found anything, I really believe they've looked and haven't found anything, because it's even classified beyond their ability to get it. You know, these things are hidden by small groups that are highly classified, and where the membership is so small and tightly held, that's how the secret gets hidden.
You know, Nick, I had one thing to say about a good friend of the show, Stanton T. Friedman. I know he's a friend of yours, right?
Yeah.
Stan came on the show. He's been on a couple times, and we got on the topic of Bigelow Aerospace. And for the listeners out there who don't know about Bigelow, he is big money, okay? And he's putting manned space stations. I know Nick could probably explain it better. They're like a balloon-type deal that blows up from inside, and they can work inside this balloon and create these things. Somebody had said that he was the only one, the only private citizen. He could actually weaponize space and bring weapons up there and all this because he has so much money. I thought one of the cool things when I was talking to Stanton, and I could be misquoting him, but I thought in the documentary I seen them asking Stanton about Bigelow, and he didn't seem real hot on the idea of Bigelow being up in space. And then when we had him on the show, Nick, he had totally changed his attitude with him. He had said, I know he's in MUFON and everything. He's a great guy. I've actually talked to him. What do you think about Bigelow? What's going on there?
Well, yeah, I mean, I actually think this is interesting, the idea that, opening up outer space to anybody who's got the money, I mean, we can all drive a car on the road, or a truck or whatever. Why shouldn't we all make use of outer space if the technology is available to us? There's actually no legal reason why only military agencies or official space agencies can have access to outer space. Literally
see, Nick,
the law.
I see. Bigelow got to you. How much is he paying you?
They got the Nick.
Yeah, but seriously, I think it would be great, if we could all have access to where, there was some craft built where you could sort of go to a hotel in space and spend 3 or 4 days, sort of looking at the Earth orbiting below and sort of, experience a no-gravity environment and,
the next thing Disney is building is, Disneyland the Moon. They're
Well, yeah, you kind of all like enter the 1,000-mile high club or whatever,
See,
I mean? So,
I want to be the first to do that, buddy. That'd be epic, SAP, I think Bigelow is a part of the SAP, the Special Access Program, and Disney, quite possibly as well. I mean, if you're thinking about money, these people...
we're not getting bought by any network now.
Nick, are you part of the SAP? But they have this group out there, the SAP, and would you argue against the idea that it's big money that makes up this Special Access Program? I mean, you got to have billions to keep something from the president, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is one of these things where, very often that is how secrets are kept, that the number of people is, really to a limited degree. And I think when you look back in history, you find that is how and why secrets do get kept, because purely and simply, that's the way it's been done. The less people who know, it isn't always done just to keep the secret. It's just done to prevent enemy nations finding out. And if everybody and his brother knows about it, it's kind of like people sometimes assume, if you go and work for the CIA, you're suddenly automatically told about what happened at Roswell. That'd be stupid. It's like, even in an agency like that, you're just told what you need to know to do your job. They're just guys looking into this area or that area. So, ironically, there may be people in the Pentagon saying, I wonder what really happened at Roswell. A lot of them may not be any more aware of it than we are, really.
The thing that scares me about privatizing or private citizens going to space with enough money to do whatever they want. The majority of the American citizens don't know. All as far as we go is looking up at the night sky and going, look at the pretty stars. We don't know what's going on up there. And if you have the right amount of...
I mean, there are a lot of rumors about, we all know about the official space program, NASA's official space program, the space shuttle and things like that.
Right.
But for years, there have been rumors about like a clandestine space program that might be using technology far in advance of sort of just general rocketry. And that, that they've made sort of clandestines into sort of trips into space and maybe even to the moon and Mars. And, it sounds outlandish and way out. But there are a lot of people who say there is like this space program that runs in tandem with the official one, and that perhaps even NASA doesn't even know that there's this other program going on, possibly.
Have we made contact with aliens, Nick? Do you think?
Well, that's the big question. I mean, we have a lot of official documents through the Freedom of Information Act showing that there have been very strong, credible UFO cases involving military personnel over the years, like pilots and radar operators and things like that. And UFOs have been seen hovering over military bases, and a lot of that's documented. Now, we do have stories about, alien contact and supposed extraterrestrials coming down and landing at Area 51 and meeting with, representatives of the government. The stories are fascinating, but what they lack is sort of the official documentation to support them. It's very much just witness or whistleblower based. And, to an extent that's intriguing, but, it's not hard evidence. So my sort of view on all this is like a maybe. That's kind of where we are at right now.
Whoever holds the dollar is the one that gets heard. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of these privates or military men and women that are out there serving their company that see these things on the bases, and all the documentaries and things that I've seen. And these guys are saying, yeah, I've seen this. Nick, and I know you've seen these documentaries too. And the government that they're sworn to protect, that they fight for, all these guys are saying is, hey, we seen lights and this happened. And the government's like, they're crazy. What would... Well,
again, this comes down to, a lot of the sort of levels of secrecy that exist in government, that, if you're involved in a significant event that has a bearing on national security, there is legislation where people are told, you won't talk about this. And on occasion, that's, been applied to the UFO subject. That there are examples in significant events. There was a famous one in England in December 1980 at a place called Rendlesham Forest, where something landed in the woods on the fringes of two military bases, and where there were actually British and US personnel stationed. And they were basically told, you won't talk about this event under any circumstances, and a lot of them didn't, and they still don't to this day. Some have come forward, but others are still, concerned about sort of pensions and things like that, which is understandable.
Right. I know we was talking to a pilot. I work for an airline, and we were actually talking to a pilot one night, and they were talking about UFO. And he said the one thing that he would say is that report a UFO sighting to the FAA and watch how fast your pilot license gets pulled. So, these guys have nothing to gain, they're just keeping it to themselves.
Well, I also know of a number of pilots who haven't reported it just to the fear of the stigma angle. There was no security involved, but they just said, hey, just don't want to get involved in being known as a guy who saw a UFO. Even though he did, but he was like, I just don't want to get involved in the hassle of filing paperwork and getting out to the press or whatever. So very often it's not just secrecy that relates to this, it's actually the witnesses' concerns about how they're going to be perceived when they've got like a professional, responsible job or whatever.
Do you remember the flight? Was it Air Japan? I think the flight was where they actually, the military sent planes, scrambled jets, because they actually picked up on radar this ship following along. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, there's actually been a few stories like that over the years where aircraft have been sent up and to intercept a UFO after it's been tracked on radar. So, it kind of makes these cases important, because you've got the guys on the ground tracking it on radar, then you've got the pilots in the air actually seeing it. And I think it's these sort of cases where it involves the military and clearly something sort of penetrated our airspace. These are the events where national security comes into play. It's not like the Men in Black would take interest every time there's, somebody sees a weird light in the sky. That would just be stupid. Right. But when it's some evidence that something's entered our airspace and flying rings around us, essentially, those are the cases that really, where the clampdown begins.
Well, now, since you threw it out there, Nick, the Men in Black. A lot of people think that these are actually aliens who are, that our government knows about, who are out there keeping tabs on what people know, and other people just think it's the government who doesn't want to let what they know leak out. What do you think there?
Well, I think there could be a couple of angles. I've written 2 books on the Men in Black mystery. I'm working on a 3rd one right now. A lot of people, think of the Men in Black, they think of Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. But the movies, they're actually just based on a comic book franchise, and the comic books were based on real reports of these sort of sinister Men in Black going around and silencing and threatening UFO witnesses. And sometimes researchers, way back to the 40s and the 50s, and they were dressed in typically black suits. And some of them sound like government agents, kind of like in the films. But others of them are sort of really sort of creepy and weird, where they're like 5 foot tall, skinny, and very pale skinned, and they've got these black sunglasses with these bulging eyes behind them. And it's sort of, given rise to the idea that could they be something extraterrestrial, as bizarre as it sounds. So,
I think
kind of like there's two angles to it.
I think it's all just crazy there, Nick, because I thought I saw a UFO once, but after I talked to somebody, I forget who, I was pretty sure it was just swamp gas reflecting off of Venus.
So there you go. You should be working for the government.
Yeah, swamp gas and balloons. It seems to be. I remember I seen something on Facebook, Nick.
A good explanation like that.
I think I'm just gonna start a swamp gas company so that the government has to start paying me.
I seen something on Facebook, and they were talking about different sightings, and they would have it listed, and beside it, air balloon. Next one was falling star. Next one was shooting comet. Next one was air balloon. They had all these comments from what the official government, comments on what happened out there. It wasn't far from the truth. But Nick, anybody that's read your stuff, and I know everybody out there has, Memoirs of a Monster Hunter, Keep Out, Top Secret Places, Strange Secrets, Real Government Files of the Unknown, and of course the new one, For Nobody's Eyes Only. You have been on the trail of monsters, government conspiracy theories, cover-ups for years. What do you think about monsters, Bigfoot, Yeti, Loch Ness, troll people, all the things we see here, the reptilian monsters, what's the one, the lizard man. We just talked about the Legend of Boggy Creek tonight. The what was it, Demon Hunter? The folk monster?
The folk monster.
What do you think these things are? Do they have an alien connection?
I personally don't think it does. I mean, the subject of unknown animals, which is known as cryptozoology, that's probably my sort of biggest interest, more than UFOs. And what got me interested, when I was a kid, my parents took me on a week's holiday to Scotland. We spent a day at Loch Ness, and that's what got me interested. But, I think some of these things are animals that science hasn't found yet. I think it is that simple. Others, I think, seem to have paranormal overtones, like Mothman, from the Mothman Prophecies book and movie. They're more sort of like a supernatural type thing. And I think also there's another category where some of them could be creatures that science thinks has become extinct, perhaps from the dinosaur era, but have actually survived extinction. So there's, like with UFOs, I think there's several categories of these crypto creatures as they become known. But, when it comes to things like Bigfoot, you have, in the one camp, you have the people who think it's just an unknown type of North American large ape. Then you have other people who think it has sort of paranormal qualities to it. And there are a few weird cases, actually more than a few, where Bigfoot sort of supposedly vanished in a flash of light, which is really controversial, because it's enough to talk about seeing Bigfoot. Then you say it vanished before your eyes, there's a lot of weird overtones with cryptozoology that almost take it into a ghost hunting or paranormal path as well.
Well, see, from my childhood, I know that the Bigfoot is actually just a bionic creature who was
there you
built
go.
by aliens.
That's right. $6 million man. Yeah.
No, that's real. I tell you, my wife now, we just got married 2 weeks ago. She works for a government outfit, and they actually built a real Iron Man type suit. So, I mean, I didn't know about it until she had told me, and you can actually see it on YouTube. This stuff's really out there, Nick. It's really happening.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's sort of the military is coming up with some really interesting stuff in terms of weaponry and body armor and things like that. And the next thing I'm waiting for is to see the zombie virus get weaponized. That'll probably be the next big thing.
Oh, now you opened it. We're going into the new episode of The Walking Dead tonight. Now you talked about zombies. Where's the virus? I read something about Russia has developed a virus or some kind of chemical weapon that can transform people into zombies. Have you read about this?
I haven't seen that one, but I mean, there are a lot of rumors about things like this. And I mean, people ask, I don't think the dead are literally going to rise up and attack the living. I don't think that's going to happen. But the idea of something like 28 days later or 28 weeks later, where you have a virus that could instill rage in a person, that's actually not out of the question. I mean, you look at somebody with rabies, when they're at the real height of rabies, I mean, you know, they have to be strapped down. They're just totally, like, violent and homicidal. You know, people have talked about sort of mutating the, you know, the rumours about government agencies around the world mutating the rabies virus and trying to create, you know, something that's similar to the scenario in 28 days later. So
see, folks, the GhostMan and Demon Hunter show was just talking about that tonight. We're right. We're
yeah, that could happen. Something like that. You know, if it was perfect, like a perfect cocktail of viruses, and you know, sort of carefully distilled to where it just creates massive rage. For all intents and purposes, the person wouldn't be dead, but it's not going to make much difference if they're charging at you, ready to tear you apart. You know.
You know, we're getting near our end of the night, Nick, and I have one question I want to ask you before we go this evening. Important question on everybody's lips. It could be supernatural. We don't know. Who shot JFK?
Well, that's a very good question. I think one of these people, I think Oswald was involved, but I don't think he was the only one. I don't think he was like some innocent guy. I think he was part of a plot. But, you know, the problem is he was meant to be the fall guy. I think chances are it was just some, you know, hired assassin brought in who was known for his skills, or maybe several of them, you know, and they possibly even brought him from outside the country. And I think the problem is, sort of 50 years later, we're never really going to know. You know, I'd be very surprised if anything was ever put to paper along the lines of, you know, please hire Mr. Smith to go to Dealey Plaza and shoot the president. That sort of stuff would just not be put into a document, you know. It would. So I think the chance of us finding out, it's kind of like Jack the Ripper or something. It's going to remain a mystery, I think.
See, I just had an argument with somebody recently. They believe the CIA did it, where I think it was the mafia, and that the CIA knew it was coming, but didn't do anything to stop it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's interesting that when you look at all the theories, why it's puzzling is because you can find different strands that push it in different directions. For example, you have Oswald, who spent time in Russia, so, you know, you have the Russian theory. Then you find some of the people tied to it had links to the CIA, which creates a CIA theory. You know, you had, you know, when Oswald got shot by Jack Ruby, you know, Jack Ruby was linked with the mob. So you've got the mafia link, and then the Cuban angle, some of the people linked with the Cubans. So that's what makes it so difficult to figure out, because there are actually pointers and flags that sort of, you know, push it in a whole range of directions, but they clearly can't all be correct at the end of the day.
See, I think it was the mob tied in with the Russian mafia that basically, you know, made it happen. So.
Well, I mean, you know, organizations like that, they're as powerful as government agencies at the end of the day. You know.
Hey, Nick, where can people pick up a copy of your new book?
Well, they can get it from Amazon online, or if you want to go into Barnes & Noble, it'll be on the shelves in Barnes & Noble as well.
We have links right now to Nick and to his publisher. Tomorrow, when I download this for the podcast, I will throw a link up there so people can find it. If they click on the photo, they'll be able to find it on our webpage. Go right to Amazon to find the book.
Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Nick, for bringing the truth to light.
The conspiracy theorist. Nick will find the answer. Okay, guys, we got to close out this show. Thanks so much, Nick.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, guys, tonight's...
We'll talk to you soon.
All right, see you later.
Tonight's guest, author, Nick Redfern. Check out his book, guys. We'll have all the information up on our site. Special thanks to tonight's band, The Headless Horsemen. Make sure to check them out. Midnight Syndicate, thanks for the tune. Serial Weird for all your weird stories. Hey, from the haunted back roads of America, this has been another G&D exclusive interview. Don't go changing America. You know we won't. Hey, Demon Hunter.
Because we love you.
Night, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.